Hello, I'm Emily Talbot. I'm an undergraduate studying equine behavioural science. I would like to welcome you to my short video documentary where I'll be discussing the differences in equine social behaviour between natural and domestic settings. The domestic horse has evolved from a free-ranging prey animal that relies on fibrous vegetation as its primary food source and lives in herd groups. Feral horses live in mixed-sex groups called harems and spend up to 20 hours a day grazing, and may travel up to 80 kilometres a day. The lifestyle of horses has been drastically altered by human desire. This has had particular effect on the social interactions horses are able to have. I'll now move on to an in-depth discussion of this. The first point I would like to discuss is housing. Horses are commonly kept in individual stable boxes that have limited turnout, especially elite performance horses and stallions. These individual boxes have been found to limit horses' social opportunities, which increases the occurrence of stress. Unlike free-roaming horses, the animals in stables can only hear, see and smell other horses. Feral horses will be able to fully interact with their conspecifics. A 2015 study by Yarnell showed that the effects of replicating a herd environment in domestication can be beneficial. This study compared fecal samples, eye temperature, rectal temperature and a time budget between mixed sex, age, breed and horses kept in single houses with no physical contact, semi-contact paired houses with full contact and group houses with full contact. The study found that the welfare of the grouped horses improved, as did their tractability. This improvement in interaction between group-held horses and humans has been noted by other studies too. Yarnell also found that horses in this study that were isolated had increased stress. This is supported by other studies that have found that isolated horses are stressed and increase their agnostic behaviour towards other horses and humans. This video shows a grey horse directing head and kick threats towards the coloured horse next to it. This obviously may not be due to the stabling, it could be due to the desire for human attention, but it is a good demonstration of agnostic behaviours. It is suggested that the possible cause of stress in this study was caused by the inability to perform allogrooming. Allogrooming is classed as an ethological need, as it is mainly caused by internal factors. The tendencies increase while not being performed. Its absence causes chronic stress, and when being performed it is rewarding. In the wild, horses will regularly allogroom as part of bonding and coat care behaviours. This video shows a group of horses allogrooming, and you can also see that there are flies present and that there is more than one horse participating in the grooming session. Yarnell also found that play behaviours decrease with isolation. Playing is an integral part of maturing for young horses who use it as a tool to increase fitness and learn social skills. Here we have a horse demonstrating juvenile snapping, a behaviour that is viewed as submissive and peacemaking if they have overstepped a boundary. Horses will discipline other horses if they deem play is becoming too boisterous or rough. Here you can see the coloured horse is biting the black horse's legs quite low down, which is a sign of aggression. The black horse then shows several kick threats to get the coloured horse to move away. This coloured horse persists and the black horse continues to demonstrate kick threats and bite threats. This coloured horse also does this to another mare, and in the next video, as you can see, she does one kick threat and the coloured horse moves away quickly. It's interesting to note that a study performed in 2008 found that foals with dams that spent more time playing with each other produced foals with better body condition scores and a better chance of survival. This brings us on to our next topic of weaning. In the wild, foals are weaned at around the time their mother is giving birth to her next foal, so at roughly 11 months old, whereas in domestic situations, foals can be weaned as early as 4 months old and using various methods. The method furthest away from this natural weaning is abrupt stall weaning, where the foals are taken away from their dam into an enclosed space such as a stable with no contact with others. This method has shown to increase stress, aggression to other horses and humans, and an increased occurrence of stereotypical behaviours later in life. As you can see on the video, this foal is stressed at being separated. The method closest to wild weaning is gradual field weaning. This method includes the mare and foals being kept in a herd until the weaning process takes place. Then one by one, mares are removed until just foals remain. This allows the foals to perform social behaviours such as play, dominance and submissive behaviours, as well as form a stable hierarchy. It has been found that foals will associate themselves with their dams, peers, foals, and that foals will have similar ranking in the hierarchy as their dams before and after weaning. The higher up the ranking the foals are, their rate of aggression increases too, and it should be noted that 80% of threats come from more dominant horses to more submissive horses. The use of non-related mares during weaning has been shown to decrease stress, aggressive behaviours towards others, and the occurrence of abnormal behaviours such as wood chewing. Additionally, the use of positive interactions, such as feeding and grooming, between mare and humans during the first 5 days of foal's life has demonstrated a long-lasting willingness to interact with humans and investigation of unfamiliar humans, whereas foals that have had no human contact show more flight and fight responses and avoidance reactions to humans. This is of use to anyone with a foal, as it will make training and handling a much less stressful event for foal and humans. In domestication, it is very uncommon for the stallion to meet his foal. However, in the wild they would come into contact. Perhaps they would be guarded by their dams until they are weaned, and then the stallion would remove them from the herd. In this video we can see a grey mare protecting her newborn foal from a stallion that is not her horse's father. This could be key to the foal's survival, as infanticide is common if stallions meet offspring that are not theirs. You can see the difference between this stallion meeting a foal that is his. He is incredibly tolerant of the foal's play behaviour, and this foal also shows an example of juvenile snapping. Once a horse is removed from the herd by its stallion, it does not live on its own for long. Instead, it finds a new herd to live with. This brings us on to our next topic of harems, bachelor bands, and hierarchy, maintenance and formation. Although being turned out in fields is more similar to the life of a feral horse, it is still under the control of humans. For example, it is still common for many horses to be turned out in gendered groups, and it's even more common for stallions to be turned out in isolation. In the wild, stallions live in harems or bachelor bands. In harems, the role of the stallion is to keep his mares together. You can see the stallion in the video performing agnostic head behaviour called snaking to drive his mares towards the rest of the herd. The stallion may affiliate himself with the more high-ranking mares, but not all stallions are at the top of the hierarchy. It is common for harems to be led by a matriarch figure, although it has been observed that higher-ranking mares perform behaviours such as aloe grooming with the stallion and keep lower-ranking mares away from him. In domestication, it is rare for a stallion to come into contact with mares unless they are covering them, but this lack of social interaction can be the cause of boisterous behaviour towards mares. In addition to this, it has been demonstrated that the presence of the stallion can increase the length and frequency of the oestrus cycle, and that living in the harem boosts stallion libido and improves fertility, which is a benefit to owners. However, a potential factor that has little research done is if a stallion is turned out in a harem, will we peacefully allow humans to take mares in and out of the field? Feral stallions may also live in bachelor bands. Many people assume these horses to be very aggressive to one another. However, observations have concluded that once a hierarchy is established, the level of aggression decreases and the level of affiliative behaviour increases, and that any wound sustained in the establishment of hierarchy was minimal. Interestingly, it has been found that domestic horses that live in bachelor bands have decreased levels of testosterone, which could be an explanation as to why the aggressive interactions decrease. However, testosterone is known to drive sexual interest and behaviour, and therefore may negatively impact a stallion at stud. As you can see in this video, this group of bachelor stallions are performing affiliative behaviours, including play, fighting and sparring, but these all remain at a low level and do not escalate to actually aggression. Additionally, the fact that the coloured horse in the foreground is rolling is a sign of relaxation, as horses won't lay down in a situation where they feel under stress or in a... Here we have a group of horses meeting. You can see various behaviours such as nose-to-nose greetings, which are common in the initial meeting process. It is common for the formation of a hierarchy to cause a peak in aggressive interactions. There may be more biting, kicking, fighting and striking out, as well as more locomotory behaviours. Another behaviour that you may see is displacement, where the dominant horse moves the submissive horse away from an area. This may start as a display of agnostic behaviour involving the body language using the full body. These high-energy behaviours are not sustainable, and over time they become more subtle, turning into threats and maybe into very small subtle movements. To relate this to domestic behaviour, we can therefore conclude that maintaining a stable herd group is much more likely to decrease injury than separating by gender, as is tradition. Here we have an example of horse number 1 performing a displacement behaviour over the grey horse in the middle. As you can see, he approaches with his ears pinned back and his head low, causing the grey horse to move away with her ears back as well. The grey horse displaces the horse on the right from the feed, showing that she is dominant over that horse. There are several theories regarding the structure of dominance within horses' herds. Dominance is suggested to be linear. Horse A is dominant over horse B is dominant over horse C, but horse B is only dominant over horse C. However, some horses will be of equal standing to each other, and a triangular hierarchy can exist. For example, horse A is dominant over horse B, who is dominant over horse C, who is dominant over horse A. Several studies have noted that the initiation of group movement is an attribute of herd leaders. It has been observed that subordinates will follow higher-ranking horses and horses that they are more socially bonded with. There is debate over if there is a certain quality that makes a horse more likely to be high-ranking. Factors such as age, sex and height have been studied, but only body condition score has been found to be positively correlated with rank in wild horses and domestic horses. Some professionals recommend that asserting dominance over a horse to gain their respect and become their herd leader is a feasible method of training. However, studies show that horses do not translate horse-horse interactions into horse-human interactions. Therefore, a more reliable way of training would be through the use of reinforcement methods, such as clicker training, as is shown in this video. In conclusion, there are many aspects of the social behaviour of equines that humans could incorporate into management to create a much more natural environment and less stressful environment for horses, such as group housing, increased turnout and harem and bachelor band turnout. These will allow for horses to participate in natural situations such as mixed gender interactions, affiliative and agnostic interactions, hierarchy, creation and maintenance. Studies have shown this to improve horse-horse and horse-human behaviour. As well as this, handlers should take into account the fact that dominance may not be as much the useful concept in the horse-human bond as reinforcement is. Thank you very much for watching.